This is the Boss 8010 tuner. Complicated little bugger. I bought it. I was playing live, and I bought it I was playing with the band, and I thought it would help me with my live sound. I'm never sure it did, but messing with it at home, I do find it a good unit. But let's take a look at it. But let's try that. Okay, this is just the guitar. No, nothing. That's a good sound, I would say. And you know what? Well, do you need the Boss 8010? It's a hoss. It's, you know what? It's a Boss product. Every Boss product, I would say, is always pretty, professional and reliable. I love a lot of the crazy pedals, and then, I notice whenever I play for real, like go out somewhere and actually play with people, I grab my Boss pedals. And that's kind of what this was supposed to be. So, this is really for use with the Seymour Duncan Woody. And it's replacing this, the ballot, which is excellent. The only thing I think that this has that the Seymour Duncan Woody doesn't have is, you do get like some delay, chorus. You have more possibilities, I think, in terms of EQ. It's a lot easier to see, these little buttons. And that's the gain button, right? Look at this thing so beat up. You know why that's beat up, everybody? Because I used the heck out of it, and it still works. If I plug that in right now, it would work. But that's like the gain button. Look at that. So, I mean, look at gain. You just turn it up. Forget it. So I bought this, and let's see if we like it. Now let's try a little finger picking. Now let's try with the finger picking. If I were playing something nice and pretty, like in a coffee house or something, I would find that a good acoustic guitar sound. But I'm gonna do a couple original songs, give a little acoustic test here. Seymour Duncan Woody through a electric guitar amp and the Boss 8010. Let's see how we got here. This is FLA. I wrote this about 15 years ago. FLA, blue skies and a sunny day. Trouble seems so far away. Sunny FLA. walk the Strand with me. He was on the beach in FLA. It always seemed a sunny day to a Midwest boy like me who'd never seen the deep blue sea. Pretty women, lots of sun, lots of water, lots of fun. When your blues with you are done, that's what they say. FLA. FLA. Headed out from Detroit town, took the freeway straight southbound, rode right all through Dixie all the way to FLA. Just two kids who had the blues, nothing much that they could lose, no good choices they could choose, so why not FLA? We drove that car all through the night till we saw the morning light, kept on looking left and right. Not a policeman inside. Stopped the car around 6 or so. Saw the Gulf of Mexico. Saw the mighty tide waves roll at break of day. FLA. FLA. On the turnpike down to Tampa, and the great blue herons gliding by the white boats on the bay. Cut on east and back on down, we drove that car into the ground. Looks like we made it. Looks like we made it all the way to FLA. She was a friend of mine, pretty as a Valentine. Had a swim. West Palm, FLA, and how we used to like to go, listen to the radio, sit there on the patio, and watch sweet Judy lay by the pool in FLA, in the heat of any day, where the sweet smoke and the wine made the water seem to shine. Nothing special, nothing new, not a damn thing much to do. Laying back the whole day through, that's how they play. FLA. FLA. Let's see what we get. Right away, it's too loud. That's because I was playing with it loud the other day. Are you getting those controls? Get them good so you can see where it says output. And the two main, there's output and then level. Let's turn both those to. That sounds pretty good right away. I'll tell you what, you got this we'll put everything at noon. This feedback resonance, or that acoustic resonance and ambience, those were two, I think, kind of selling features. Then you've got, but let's take the boost off. All right, here we go. All right, here. Now we've got Seymour Duncan with the 810. I'm never. Let's try the little bit of blues. Just wait, you can leave it on. All right, now what we're going to do now is run through a couple of these controls, see what we can get. I would say it sounded pretty good. What I find is it's confusing, and I'm not going to go try to go. You've got delay and chorus there, and I don't like these little buttons. I get confused. Okay, call me an airhead. You wouldn't be the first, you probably won't be the last. I get confused. Let's turn off. That's feedback, but we're going to leave that. Okay, that's on. It's on. So everything. Now that's just everything off. You know how tinny it sounds? Mary's over there in the camera. That's just the Seymour Duncan Woody, and it's loud. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to add some of this acoustic resonance. There, we got that. But let's add the compressor. You know what? I always say I don't like compressor, but let's try it. It might help to have a little bit of compressor. I usually say I don't like compression. Okay, there's a little bit of delay. And you got different kinds of delay. I don't know. There's a green, and you know what? We're going to go by colors. Green delay, orange delay, red delay. No, I'm assuming that's no delay. Then you got down here, it says delay. I love that Woody, but it does have that kind of electric guitar sound and a little bit of tinniness. So I think this, if you want, this will mellow it out. Now this will add some chorus. Let's try a little bit of chorus. That's too much. You know what, that'll be, usually with Boss pedals, right around noon always seems to be a good bet. Let's try, okay, here's the kicker. Let's try this acoustic resonance. Okay, that goes on. Now that, I would say that adds body, kind of adds body but also mellowness. That's kind of one of those why would you ever turn it off type of thing. I just think it makes your better. Remember, everything you're doing when you're playing a nice Martin and you've got something like this, any kind, I don't care, you can put the $500 pickup installed, cut into that beautiful wood. Anything you do, you're trying to hide try over here some ambience. All right, here's ambience. Ambience off. Will you push that ambience off? Just push that. Okay, let's see. All right, here's the orange ambience. You know what? Makes a difference. I would say I like that orange ambience. Here's red ambience. Boy, that's nice. And you know what? I like acoustic classic. Okay, and I think that chorus maybe is it's you know what, and now this stuff over here is where you know what, I don't use that stuff, so I find it confusing. And the only thing I would caution you about some of this stuff on the periphery, like effects loops and some of the if you don't use it, don't think it still can mess you up, because if it's on or something, it'll do crazy things, and if you don't understand it, which I do not, then you're taking yourself at risk. But here, let's EQ it. A bit of bass. Now, what are you supposed to scoop the mids? What does that mean? You add bass and treble? Is that what you do with scoop the mids? I don't know, but let's try that. If I were playing something nice and pretty, like in a coffee house or something, I would find that a good acoustic guitar sound. Yeah, I think you know what? Let's just try. There's the layoff. You want to try the tuner? I didn't find the tuner all that helpful, but there's the tuner. It's on E, A, D. I'm assuming we're in pretty good tune. G, B, E. I don't know. Is that tuned according to this thing? I don't know. It's tuned enough according to me. The top, it's got a bunch of confusing stuff on the back too. Can you get a straight on shot of that? It's got a bunch of confusing stuff on the back too, but it looks like you can you know, do some XLR line outs, which is probably pretty good. I wonder, does this thing take phantom power? I don't think it does, so you need a 9-volt. You've got see, and I don't use a lot of these, so I don't understand them. I don't want to explain them. And the only thing I don't like about them is to make me nervous, because what you don't understand, you might think it's just there and you're not using it, so it's not a big deal, but it can actually screw you up in some cases, like some of these buttons over here on the side, if you don't know what they're doing. But otherwise, I think it sounds pretty good. Should I just turn it down? Let's crank it. It's not cut. It's cut out or something.
You have it on tuner.
Oh, it's on tuner. Uh-oh, Mary, you. Is it off tuner?
Yes.
It's off. Is it coming out the speakers
now? No, you put it back on tuner.
Oh, did I? Uh-oh, Mary, among her many excellent qualities, she's smarter than I am. Is one of the number one. So the tuner cuts it out, which is good, I guess, right? You know what? I'm sure I can make it sound still better. Tweaking some of those EQs, of course. But you know what? I'm gonna say if I were sitting in here, if I were playing in a band, that would be good enough. And if I were in a coffee house, and I just wanted to play something kind of quiet. Coffee house, and my love and I did walk to the market, where a brutal murder took place, and my love and I did go down to the devil. Well, what do I think? I mean, obviously it's an excellent product. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and rip on almost anything that says Boss is solid, reliable, built like a tank. It's all that stuff. The one thing, and I think it was $400, so it's not cheap. I'd buy one used if I could. I don't know what they go for used, but if it's used and there's nothing wrong with it, I think that would be the way to go. My only concern is I always am happy with it when I'm in here and I mess with it a while. Okay, you got a lot of knobs, you mess with it a while, and I'll get it to sound good. I feel like the times I've used it in here, I've gotten it to sound where I really enjoyed it, and it also gives me like a acoustic body. That resonance and that acoustic, it kind of makes me feel like there's a body, and when you play it through an amp, it gives you that kind of classic rock acoustic sound, which I like. I like classic rock and I like acoustic. So I sometimes think we separate those too much. You put classic rock and acoustic together, then you've got some great acoustic guitar. But so I've always liked it in here. My only concern has been the couple times I've used it live, it'll sound like heck in sound check. And I don't know about you, but I don't like sound check, those hasty sound checks. Sometimes that can't be avoided, I know, which that's part of professionalism. But to me, and this is very 70s, that's classic rock. Classic rock is you turn on and you play a while and you keep sounding better. And that's why they used to do warm-up songs. You kind of, then the band would start sounding better and better by I just go a lot of concerts. How many times the first song or two, you kind of, was muddled. By the end of the night, it was just great. That's what I always think of this. But the thing is, in a lot of situations today, that kind of jam band, it'll keep sounding better the more you play. That's not going to work. They want you to sound excellent, like the second you start playing. And this one, the couple times I used it, man, as soon as I turned it on, I got negative sounds, and I don't like negative sounds. So I used it several times live, and I don't ever think I sounded as good live as I did in here with it. But then you've got other variables. See, like all of a sudden you're running through a PA. The room might be twice as big, I don't know. I'm playing through an electric guitar amp, so I didn't try this through an acoustic guitar amp or through the house PA. I would imagine you should be able to just use this through the house PA. My sound for acoustic guitar, after a lot of years, with a lot of this acoustic gear that you can buy, a lot of it quite expensive, is I like a little tube amp for my electric guitar sound. I'm not always sure that would work live. Some bands won't even, they'll say, no, you can't, but I happen to think a tube amp, electric guitar amp sounds great if you can mellow it out a little bit with something like this. But like the looper, I didn't even try the looper. I'm not a looper, and some people said it was good. So but you do have a looper of sorts in there. I don't think it's a really fancy one. Tuner wasn't great. I forgot it was there. Thanks. But it does tune. I don't think, and I noticed this when I was playing. The tuner wasn't as convenient. It was a selling feature to me that you had a tuner in there, and for some reason I wasn't as happy with it. I don't know. Maybe it's because this thing was, if you're not, I don't know. You need to be sitting right on top of this thing, and then be able to use the tuner. I never always ended up relying on a headstock tuner or something. The few times I used this live, but like I said, in here, in this room, when I have time to mess with it, and no one's saying, "Hey, hurry up," or "Turn the mids down," I hate that when you hit one note and some guy goes, "Hey, your mids are loud," you played like 3 notes. That in some ways that's professional. You never want to sound bad. So it's your fault. If you ever sound bad, it's your fault in a way. But sometimes you want to mess with your sound a little bit. You go, turn the mids down. You're too loud or something. Sound check. Then 20 minutes later, the room's full of people and nobody. And then you have a whole different sound situation. So a good sound check is important, and I never really had that with this. But I would say. Even if you try to leave all the settings exactly they are, I don't think it does presets all that well. Maybe it does in some. I'm not messing with it. But to me, when you get in a big room, you're going to want to mess with this and give yourself time. To me, mess with it. Every room's going to be a little different, so you're going to want to have time to kind of play your guitar at a nice loud volume. That's another thing about sound check. You sound check, everyone's play, don't play so loud, there's, Joe Blow's over there talking to the owner of the bar or whatever, so you can't play loud. Well, you want to, at sound check, you want to play how loud you're going to be playing in the show when the room's full of people, maybe even some of them hooting and hollering a little bit. You want to be able to play that loud. Otherwise, why the hell have a sound check, huh? I mean, if you're just going, tick, 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 there's my sound check, then 20 minutes later you're playing, Highway Star or something. Forget, what good was that sound check? But you know what? I'm glad I bought it. And you know what? For me, at this stage in my life, I do play in here a lot, and I think I get a great sound out of it in here. If I perform live, I just want to get there early, or maybe get a little more confident with the controls. I feel like a little bit more confident with the controls, but it definitely. There are definitely some unpleasant sounds in here await if you just turn it on and don't know what you're doing. It'll make your guitar sound worse. And you know what? I never like a pedal that makes your guitar sound bad. I mean, to me, a pedal or anything like this should never make your guitar sound worse, and it should never make your guitar sound bad. I mean, maybe if you got everything up to 11, it's going to sound bad with no matter what you're doing. But I mean, if you have just normal, you turn it on and you get horrible sounds right away, that's a red flag. And this does have that where you turn it on and it sounds, oh, that's bad. What is that? And then you mess with it a while and you got a lot of great sounds in there. So I always think that's a red flag to me. If you turn something on and it sounds bad or makes your guitar sound worse, that's a red flag. But having said that, obviously it's a great product. I mean, it's probably there are a couple others that are competitors at this level and price point. And this level of functionality, but this was the one I bought. There's Tone X and Radial, and there's several nice ones. I'm sure they're all good. This one ironically, some of the things I bought it for, like the delay and chorus and a little bit of reverb. I like that on acoustic guitar, especially when you're playing yourself. If you're playing by yourself, some delay and reverb is really nice. It kind of gives you, it kind of fills your sound out a little bit if you're by yourself. When you're in a band, I think maybe it's one thing I've learned is the guitar sound that sounds good, like when you're in a coffee house just playing solo acoustic, it kind of fills the room that way. All of a sudden it's going to be a bunch of mud if you try to put that within too many people. You start getting 4 or 5 people up there, and then you want to clean up your sound. But it does have delay, reverb, and chorus, and I think those are just like the patented kind of Boss reverb, delay, choruses. I doubt that what's in here is that much for reverb, delay, and chorus, and a lot of these effects aren't probably that different than what you're going to see in the Boss Acoustic Singer Live, or I have the Roland AC60, which has delay, reverb, and chorus on it. So maybe they're a little more up to date specs or something with but otherwise I don't think it's that different. So a lot of this you're going to get in a good acoustic amp. But to me, my sound is going through a Seymour Duncan Woody into one of these and into an electric guitar amp with tubes. And I think it is what it is. If you like if you like messing with things, I think this thing has a lot of great sounds in it, and you can really make your guitar sound big and fat, and also clean and ambient and atmospheric, but also big and fat and full, which I happen to think, whether you're finger picking or whatever, that's a big fat full sound. Even if that doesn't mean indelicate or anything like that. A big fat full sound is nice for finger picking, gentle. It's nice for Maggie May type rockers where you want a great big old fat acoustic guitar, Brown Eyed Girl or whatever. That's all that's all great classic acoustic rock. Some of those old Rod Stewart songs. And by the way, I don't think all the acoustic gear today ever quite emulates the acoustic guitars of those years, which were just often played with more primitive types of gear and managed to sound freaking great. But yeah, I think, and you know what? And then I didn't have to cut into my Martin, did I? The Taylor Expression System 2 is nice. Taylor Expression System 2 is nice. People cut that down. I like it. You know what? And to me, the Expression System 2 is if you're somewhere and you just want to plug in your guitar. I don't think I see they're never going to tell you not to buy something. They're never going to say, "Oh, you have the Expression System 2. You don't need the Boss 8010. You don't need, the LR Baggs Paracoot. You have because that's really actually true. If you have the Expression System 2, you do not need anything. You don't need anything with the Expression System 2, including an amp. The Expression System 2, I've talked to guys from Taylor. The Expression System 2 is made to just plug your guitar into an amp. It's got a preamp in it. It's in fullness and all that. It doesn't have, obviously, reverb and chorus and delay, but you might be able to you probably can get that off your PA, right? So, but if you don't want to use the Expression System 2, or you want a bigger rock and roll sound, which I happen to like, a big fat kind of harmonic distortion, buzzy acoustic guitar sound, which is classic rock as heck, then that'll fill you out and it'll take one of those nice, I would say, and the other thing is, I don't think you need that with an like a fancy pickup system with its own preamp. I don't think you need that. I think you need this kind of thing. They're never going to tell you that. They will never tell you that in a million years. But if you have a one of these $500 pickups with its own preamp system in it, you don't need this. You do get like the chorus, delay, reverb, so that's nice. The tuner, which you might not have. But if you just want an acoustic guitar sound and that's your focus, and you have like an Expression System 2 or something comparable at that level, you don't need this. And you don't need an acoustic guitar amp. They will never tell you that in any music store or like affiliate link gear review in the universe. But you don't need anything but that Expression System 2. Just plug it right into the PA. That's what it's for. And to me, that's great. And you have an Expression System 2 and you just plug, you go somewhere and you just plug into the house mains, you're going to sound excellent. This is for people that want to me, a fuller sound. To me, if I were just playing my Taylor Expression System 2, I would just plug into the house. And I played a fair amount of acoustic guitar in bands and just solo. And that Expression, and I've tried a lot of different things. To me, if the band is really just acoustic, you're not going to beat an Expression System 2 plugged into the house. And you don't need an amp. You don't need anything. And like I said, a lot of people won't tell you that because they want you to have an amp. They want you to have all the, an acoustic guitar pedal board that's like, that's got, $1,000 worth of acoustic pedals on it. But if you have a Taylor Expression 2, you don't need that. But I think for like the Woody, you do kind of need this. And with that magnetic, and with the magnetic sound hole pickup, you can really kind of mellow the sound of that acoustic pickup, but still have that kind of harmonic warmth and buzz that you get from those old magnetic sound hole pickups. That's classic rock as heck, and you're going to get a good sound, and this is going to help you fill the room. So those are my thoughts. Thanks. God bless.